The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 28 of MMA to the Max. I am your host, Robert Taylor, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joseph Hudson, a.k.a. Riverside Joe. How you doing today, Joe? Better than me? Most likely.
Yeah, better than you. Definitely better than you. Your voice sounds like shit. Your voice now matches your face for radio, and now you have a voice for nothing. You sound like crap, but I appreciate you muscling through and showing your dedication to the show, even though you're sick, making sure we can get this together, recorded, and be as cognizant as you can of our great interview with the wonderful Josh Emmett.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and just get it out of the way and let everybody know. This is our second attempt at recording this episode because we had about a good 10-minute conversation before my dumb, medicated, drugged-up ass didn't notice he never hit start.
You got to start it before you can start. So...
We had a good conversation too. It was actually good. It's some good radio there.
Yeah. So hopefully the second take is as good as the first take.
Yeah. But, no, it's going. It's going. It's definitely recording this time.
That. Yeah.
Wow.
You guys can judge how it sounds. But we started to get into the Stipe Ngannou fight.
That's right. Stipe did what he had to do, like we were talking about, like you talked about, push him into deep waters.
Push him into deep waters, grind him out. But the thing that I think surprised all of us is he took some pretty good shots from Ngannou. Maybe not 100% Ngannou power, but he took some good shots from him. He got wobbled, but he stayed moving forward. He took Ngannou into deep water and drowned him. I mean, that fourth round was so close to being stopped.
It probably should have. I mean, he had 84 shots to 0 in that round. I mean, that is a 10-7 if I've ever seen one, and I can't believe it was probably the only round that the judges scored at 10-8.
Yeah, the third round I was thinking was a 10-8 also, but
second round, third round.
Yeah, second round.
He just even then in the third round though, Ngannou was able to land a shot that you can tell wobbled Stipe.
It hurt him.
He was able to get the takedown though, but yeah, it's still even a gassed out Ngannou can still throw some haymakers to knock your ass out.
Yeah, I think that's what Stipe learned in the third round. Okay, this guy's gassed. He's in deep water. I'm going to get in the pocket with him. And he got clipped and goes, okay, never mind. Even when this guy is out, he is never done. So I think that's the fourth round, went straight in for the I think it was a single. He turned corner, put him on the ground, stayed in side control the entire time. I don't know why he didn't try to pass, why he didn't go knee on belly or any of that.
A mount was there for the taking. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at my TV, knee on belly, let's go. It was there the whole time. And Ngannou shrimped up one point, did a little shrimping, got him back into half guard, and then 2 seconds later, Stipe slipped out. But maybe he just feels more comfortable in side control than in mount, which is fine. But I think Ngannou was so gassed he couldn't buck him off of him even if he wanted to. But either way, history was made last night. Stipe Miocic just being the first heavyweight in the history of the UFC to defend his title 3 consecutive times.
Which is crazy when you think about it. It's just crazy when you think about who's been heavyweight champion over the years. I mean, obviously you got Cain Velasquez, who everybody thought was going to be the man to do it, but injuries kind of derailed all that. So,
yeah. If it wasn't for injuries, Cain Velasquez would probably be the greatest heavyweight of all time. But unfortunately, the inability of him to stay healthy is kind of, put a shadow over his entire career. Yeah, he definitely could have done it, but being injured so often kind of makes it hard to defend your belt. But according to DC, he believes Cain is going to be back. He's going to have to fight at least twice this year, if he believes that he's going to get a shot at the belt, you know.
I hope he does come back, man.
Oh, I hope so. I love watching that guy fight. But that would be amazing if he does come back, and then you could have 3 title holders all at AKA at the same time, if in fact Luke Rockhold gets through Yoel Romero. I think he does, by the way, but if he does.
Well, not just that. Don't forget about Khabib. That's going to be 4, man. It's going to make it 4.
That's true. Khabib and Ferguson, you're right. I don't want to underestimate that. I know I'm a big Ferguson fan, and that's kind of where I'm going to put my money. But Khabib can do it. I would not be surprised at all.
He's going to do it. I'm sorry. The Kevin Lee fight 100% cemented that in my mind. But that was the last couple episodes ago. So this is 220. Yeah, this is our 220 review, our Bellator 192 kind of review. I mean, like you said, I watched highlights. You watched the full thing. I passed out right after 220. But also Josh Emmett joining our show for a good 20 minutes or so. I think he says he has. Better than nothing, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think getting a chance to talk to him. I had mentioned you before, there's 2 questions that are really weighing on my mind. One of which is, obviously, it was a short notice fight against Ricardo Lamas, but he did miss weight by 2.5 pounds. If there was any other complications or just simply the late notice. And then I just want to know how he feels. Is this another Team Alpha Male versus Alliance kind of thing, or is that just doesn't play into his mind? Is he just, fighting whoever he fights, and it is what it is? So those are a couple questions I'd like to ask, get his take on how he feels he stacks up against Jeremy Stephens, which I'm sure he believes he can win, and I believe he can win as well. It's going to be a slugfest, though, that's for sure.
It's a great piece of matchmaking, especially with Jeremy Stephens coming off of that great knockout victory over Doo Ho Choi.
Yeah, they're both coming off of great KO wins.
That's true. Obviously, Josh Emmett is a little better, but
yeah, Emmett was a pure starching. I mean, he put Lamas out cold with that left hook. It was
yeah, absolutely
too pretty.
Yeah, look forward to talking to him. But it's co-main event, man, of 220. DC did exactly what you, me, and any sane person thought he would do.
Yeah.
Expose Volkan Ozdemir as way overrated. He's got power, that's it, just a puncher's chance, but he had no business being in there.
No, it was the only fight to really be made at 205 because everything else there is stale. I mean, who else do you put against DC right now? 205 is
Gustafsson
stale.
wasn't injured. I mean, that would be easy, but Dana White mentioned DC versus Stipe.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
And he said, he doesn't want to go back to heavyweight because of Cain Velasquez. Well, if Cain Velasquez comes back, he could just give up the title. I mean, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, exactly. Just relinquish his title. Here you go. You can come back and play up here with the big boys. I'm going to come back down to the not quite as big boys and keep my light heavyweight belt going. But yeah, I mean, Gustafsson fight would be good. But then again, that was a replay. There's nothing fresh and new other than Ozdemir. So that's kind of why they had to make that fight.
Well, I mean, he knocked off, 3 top 10 fighters. So in his first 3 fights in the UFC. So. I mean, he earned the title shot in terms of rankings, but he just wasn't near ready. He was not even close to being on DC's level.
No, and there really are a few people at light heavyweight that are on DC's level. I was saying it while I was watching the fight. I'm like, take John Jones out of the picture, and you're looking at probably the greatest light heavyweight of all time.
No, easily.
Take John Jones out of the picture because, again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. But let's call John Jones, it is what it is. He's a cheater. At this point, at least, it's shown that way. Maybe he accidentally took a supplement or something that had it in there. Okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But he's got a big asterisk on his career. And the only guy that beats DC is a guy with a huge asterisk on his career. DC is the greatest light heavyweight of all time.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, if John Jones wasn't around, DC, not only just the greatest light heavyweight, he could probably be pound for pound GOAT. Like that, he would be in that discussion.
My thought on that is he should be in the discussion of pound for pound GOAT. You know what I mean? I definitely think he should be, but we'll see. We'll see how he defends his belt the next year.
Oh, he's definitely a pound for pound great, but I'm just saying if you take John Jones out, he could be in that conversation. Unfortunately, John Jones is there, so it's Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, I still think Mighty Mouse over Jones in my mind, simply because of volume of activity, and Jones's inactivity is due to his own self-sabotage because if he wasn't getting, arrested by sandblasting prostitutes, as DC once put it, and everything else, he would be more active. Not just the drug issues, but he would be the, I don't know. I think he could be the greatest of all time if he just stayed active and kept his nose clean.
Yeah, I agree. Also on the card, though, on the main card at least, Boston's own Calvin Kattar. Knocking out Shane Burgos, Hurricane Shane, who I had picked to win. And Kattar just looked absolutely phenomenal. It was a great fight, especially because the momentum was starting to shift towards Burgos' side.
Yeah, it was, and I was happy as it started to shift because, again, I had Burgos picked, and I don't want to say it was a home cook kind of thing, but he did end up winning legitimately. But I don't know. I should have picked him because, well, usually when you're fighting in front of your home crowd at this level, it picks you up a notch. It doesn't take you down, and he fought against his home crowd, and he did well.
Yeah, got the sweet knockout 34 seconds into the third round.
Yeah,
a beautiful uppercut. He started with the uppercut. Burgos kind of went down. He kind of stumbled a little bit, but bounced back up. And I don't know if you saw in the replays, but he was smiling and sticking out his tongue. And then
Burgos was?
Burgos was, and then Kattar just nailed him again, and that's when he fell backwards. Get that shit out of here.
Yeah, he sat him down basically twice. He crumbled him, and so he was like smiling, like, "Oh yeah, that didn't hurt," kind of smile, and then he got cracked again. I didn't see that, dude.
Yeah. If you go back and watch it, it was crazy. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Great for him. I mean, Boston people went 3-0 tonight. So
yeah, they
Bochniak, Font, and Kattar. Speaking of Font, basically just derailing any chance of Almeida becoming a contender, at least in the near future.
Yeah, he slept him. He slept him scary, like, man. I expected Font to be getting pieced up, but he stayed in the pocket and he kept throwing hands, and good God, did he look good and put Almeida to sleep.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was nice. I mean, he took top 10. He was ranked 14, took on the number 10 ranked Almeida and just put him out. Almeida's defensive issues showing their ugly face again.
Yeah, he gets a little overzealous, I think, sometimes. Or a lot of the flashy type fighters, if you walk them down, they need to fight a distance. So unless they can maintain that distance, and that's where I think a guy like Almeida, even somebody like Pettis, needs to learn how to work off a jab a little bit better, because it's easier to use a jab. Unless you're Wonder Boy, you can't really use your feet as that distance gauger. You can't use your push kick or a front kick as a jab. Only very few people can. I think Almeida needs to start working behind his jab, and maybe he can keep distance that way. I don't know.
Yeah, UFC 220 was a great show.
Fun card, man.
Yeah,
real fun card.
Top to bottom. I'm so glad Al Hassan knocked out Sabah Hamasi. I do not like Hamasi. That guy just is too cocky for his own good.
Kamasi. So. Well, yeah, a little bit, but it was fun. It was good, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
this is real quick here, but let's just take a quick commercial, and we'll be back with Josh Emmett. At least we should be.
All right, let's do it.
All right, we'll be back.
It's game time, boys, and we know football. Football to the Max is the podcast for you if you want in-depth analysis over the NFL and college football. We preview all the action coming your way over the weekend. And we break down all the big action after it's happened. Plus, we tackle all the big news topics and discuss everything when it comes to the gridiron. So come check out Football to the Max every Tuesday morning and Friday morning on the W2M network.
All right, and we're back, and we are joined now by the number 4 ranked featherweight in the UFC, or actually in the world right now, Mr. Joshua Emmett. How you doing, Josh? Thanks for joining us today.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you for taking the show. I know you've been starting up your fight camp for what is going to amount to probably a Fight of the Year candidate versus Jeremy Stevens. So we appreciate you taking the time out of your camp to talk with us, and really appreciate
it. So real quick,
maybe I just do really, I do them all, man. Even if they have like 2 followers, 100 or 1,000. I don't know. As long as I reach a few with people in their audience, it's great. So I'll always continue to do that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I've noticed a lot of the fighters too. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Some of them are just, if you're too small, if the show's too small, they don't like to really, they tell you to talk to their manager or something like that. But yeah, you're in one of those small groups that doesn't care, that reaches out to everybody, lets everybody, do their thing.
Because I know, just for me, like personally, like I know you got to start out somewhere, and I feel like I've been doing this so long and fighting regionally, and then I finally made it to the UFC, and I'll give back, and I like I said, I know you got to start somewhere, and I'm still not there. I'm still not where I want to be, but we're getting closer.
I was gonna say, you're close enough, man. I mean,
number 4, yeah, a well-deserved number 4 after what you did to Ricardo Lama. Yeah, you deserve to be where you're at, man. You're definitely gonna get there. So keep it up.
Thank you.
So, talking about the Lamas fight, how exactly has your life changed, if at all, since that Lamas fight? I mean, obviously you're the betting underdog. You jumped in on short notice, huge knockout. So, I mean, has anything changed? The media attention change, everything like that?
As far as I don't know, I guess just the recognition. That's the only thing that's changed. Other than that, it's the same thing to me. I've been competing my entire life. I've been fighting for I've been training and to fight for over a decade. I've been with one of the best teams for 11 years, and now my name's just kind of out there more. I got out to the more casual fans, like the true fight fans. They knew who I was. I was kind of the next big up and comer before I got in the UFC, and then I got in. It was May 8th, 2016, when I took a short notice fight against John Tugg on 4 days, and I flew across the world to the Netherlands and beat a super tough competitor. And I'm always the underdog, man. I don't care. It's just a number by your name. Even I'm ranked number 4. That means absolutely nothing to me. The only thing that will mean a lot to me is when I become a world champion and have that title. And just like when I wrestled in college and stuff, I was ranked in the country for NAIA, and I would upset these number 4 ranked guys in the country early on. It means, like I said, it means absolutely nothing, but I got to just keep on working and keep on doing what I'm doing. And my time is finally here. The exposure's nice just because I've been doing it for so long, and I've seen everyone come into the gym and when they were new and up and comers, and I've seen them become world champions, title challengers, number 1 contenders, and it's nice that I finally getting recognized for the hard work that I've been putting in, and a lot of people didn't know that I've even been fighting for that long or training with the Team Alpha Male for that long, and that's the only thing that's really changed. Other than that, I'm just the same old person, just with a number 4 next to my name now.
That's a good attitude to have. But yeah, you were highly touted coming out of Team Alpha Male. I remember when you made your UFC debut, Joe Rogan was just gushing over your talents, talking about you were one of the top prospects coming out of Alpha Male. Did coming out of that type of camp, that high profile camp, was there any pressure to succeed?
No, not at all. For me, it's and a lot of people don't know this either. I've been chasing this for so long, and for me, it was UFC or nothing. I got offered to fight in other promotions, that think they're on the same playing field with the UFC, but it was the highest platform to me. And me as a fan, I'm a fan of Bellator and the Pro Fight League and World Series of Fighting at the time. But if you ask somebody, okay, name all the champions in Bellator right now, that's hard to do. But I can name all the champions in the UFC. I can name everyone in the top 5 in each weight class, So for me, it's just I wanted to get to that platform. And as far as the pressure goes, I put pressure on myself before I got in the UFC, because since I was chasing it for so long, if I were to lose a regional fight just with my age and just where I was at, I knew I was kind of on the verge of making it into the UFC. I almost made it in when I was 5-0. I almost got on the Ultimate Fighter. Uriah was always talking back and forth to Dana White and Joe Silva at the time and Sean Shelby about getting me in, and they just kept saying, win one more fight, win one more fight. But if I would have lost on the regional scene, I would have been done fighting. So that's why I put the pressure on myself. But once I got into the UFC, I just know what I'm capable of. My teammates, my coaches, friends and family, they know what I'm capable of. They see how hard I train, how long I've been training to do this. And so I was just stoked to finally get in, because I knew I was going to do well. And but no added pressure at all. Now I'm at that level where I'm fighting the best fighters in the entire world. So everyone is, man, everyone's a dangerous fight. So that's why when I got offered the Lamas fight, I took it in a heartbeat, and I've took every single fight, never turned a fight down, because either I'm going to fight somebody that's ranked number 3 in the world and I can leapfrog the entire division and be right in the mix. I knew I'd get in the top 5 with a win over him, instead of fighting the guy that's, I don't know who even is ranked the very last in featherweight, but that's a risky fight. Every fight is a risky fight. Anything can happen, it's the unknowing. You can be the most prepared and well prepared for a fight, but once you get in there, you have no idea what's going to happen.
That's true. You mentioned, you train with Team Alpha Male, and there's been a long-standing rivalry between Uriah Faber and Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz fighting out of Alliance MMA. Do you feel that this is like an Alpha Male versus Alliance fight coming up with you and Stevens, or is this just another fight?
For me, it's just another fight. I don't have any like grudges or any rivalries with anyone. It's hard for me, like, and just speaking on my character, I got in the sport to fight. I think I'm one of the best fighters in the world. And so I want the fans to know that anytime I fight on a card, that it's going to be, fireworks. It's going to be entertaining, exciting. I'm going to be looking to press the fight, looking for finishes. I want to be known as like the Clay Guida, like anytime that guy fights, it's going to be a hell of a fight. So yep. For me, I'm not an actor. I got in this to fight, and that's what I'm here for. But I can't talk bad about people, especially when I don't know people. But as far as the rivalry goes, like, no, it's just another fight for me. I'm getting to fight like a pioneer of the sport. I even just being a fan of the UFC and MMA, I've watched Stevens for the last 11 years, fight. And so it's just kind of crazy that all these people that I've, watched fight and been fans of, now I'm like potentially fighting them all. So it's that's kind of crazy. But other than that, no rivalry, no grudge, just a fight for me.
So
That's
not
good.
one of those. You're not one of those fighters that needs to kind of pump himself up, like, to make themselves hate the opponent to get in the cage with them. Some fighters talk about how they got to try to force themselves to hate the opponent. You're not one of those. You just look at it as just another person.
Oh yeah, just another person in front of me. Like I'm never, out of all my fights, amateur and pro, like everyone I fought has been super respectful and pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like talking to them a little before and after. But yeah, I don't get nervous at all. I just treat it like, because I've been competing my entire life, and I've wrestled in, all through college and the national tournament in front of thousands of people. And when I was the champion for the promotion that I used to fight for, West Coast Fighting Championship, I would pack that place. It'd be like 6,000 to 8,000 people, and they're just insane. I was always the main event, and I don't know. It's just a fight to me. The hundreds and hundreds of hours I put in to training for potentially a 15 to 25 minute fight. I don't know. That's the hard part. The weight cut's the hard part. But then once I get in there, it's just like I get to go perform and have fun. And yeah, of course, I'm always like, I have no anger against my opponent, but at that time, I know it's either me or him, and I'm picking me every time. Like, I hope in a perfect a perfect fight that we can go in there and, I get the win, I get my hand raised, I'm victorious, and I hope my opponent isn't like seriously injured and can go home to their friends and family. But I know what they're trying to do to me. They're trying to embarrass me and beat me up in front of my wife, my mom, my friends and family, and the world. And like I said before, I'll be damned to let anyone embarrass me in front of the world.
That's a good attitude to have, man.
But other than that, no animosity.
Yeah. You were saying, some of the difficulties getting ready, like the weight cut. Against Lamas, you came in 2.5 pounds heavy. Was that simply just due to the short notice fight, or were there any other complications that you ran into during that cut?
No, it was strictly just a short notice. Took it on 3-week notice. I was on track. I went into fight week the same. When I checked in on Monday, I was the same weight I was 6 or 7 weeks prior when I fought in Poland and made my featherweight debut. But I just, I fought, 7 weeks prior to that, I was back in the gym just helping like teammates get prepared for fights, but I wasn't like sparring. I wasn't like, 100% into training camp. I was still kind of eating whatever because I didn't plan on fighting. Fighting Lamas on December 16th. I had no idea. They were kind of talking about, my managers were talking to Shelby about me fighting on the Boston card, maybe the St. Louis card. So we were kind of like, okay, I was going to help them get ready for their fights, and then I was going to, gear up for a training camp for that. And then they just threw out the Lamas fight. And then I thought about it, and I was like, man, I want that fight. Like, regardless if it's 3 weeks. I knew my weight was heavy. I wasn't in fight shape by no means. I was sick, like I was just just talking about. I had that damn cold that everyone's had this year. Yeah. So I had a 2-week training camp, and I was sick as hell. I was like the worst, like cold. I've never been that sick. And so I asked my doctor finally the last week of my camp. I said, hey, can you help me? Give me something. So he gave me a Z-Pack. That helped a little bit. And then I went out to Canada, and I had to cut all this weight. And it was, it was super cold. It was like 6 degrees. And but regardless, it was just the short notice fight. And my nutritionist that I've worked with a long time, he was real iffy about it because he knew how much weight I was going to have to lose in 3 weeks. And he was, I could tell he didn't want to do it, but I said, hey, I have to take this. I'm going to take this fight. And so we worked and worked and worked. We thought everything was going to go well. And then it was literally like the last 2.5 pounds, I could not sweat. And I was working so hard. And I felt like everything started to shut down. Like everything was hurting. And then I was going to keep on going. And then my boxing coach, Joey Rodriguez, he saw what was kind of going on, and he's the one that just, you're done. He told me, he's like, F this, you're not fighting tomorrow. Like, you're done. He's like, screw this fighting stuff. Your health is more important. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I'm fighting, like, I'm okay. And he's like, well, you're not cutting any more weight. And I had to sit there and like talk to him and talk to, my coach, Danny Castillo and Felipe. And we just sat there and talked. And I was I was so like depressed and upset about it. Cause like, this was the first time in my life that in wrestling, fighting, I was not going to make weight. And it was hard for me. It felt like I lost the fight already. I was like, it was bad. But we talked, everything, went well. And then he's like, just go in, weigh in, and keep your head up. And that was hard, but I just had to move on. And but I paid the price, man. I paid Lamas 30% of my purse. That's more than typical. I missed out on a $50,000 bonus. And then I didn't know, also Canada, I got some crazy foreign tax so I missed out on like $74,000 for those stupid 2 pounds. And I know that would have been nice to have that in my bank, but then I was trying to think positive, pretty optimistic. So I was like, well, at least, it'll pay dividends in the future. It's like a good investment. And I'll make that money back anyways. I just got to go in there. But it was, that sucked as far as the money goes.
Yeah,
now you're main
that
eventing.
is a hell of an investment there. Ooh.
Let's hope so. No.
Yeah, so
now
with that Lamas
after
fight,
that performance, you get to main event a card, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it went. Now you get a main event against Jeremy Stephens, which should, again, I think contender in my mind could be a fight of the year already. So
yeah, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. You know, after I beat Lamas, he was the number 3 in the world. He's been at the top. You know, he was going to fight Aldo. The winner of them gets a title shot. So I knew if I beat him, I would be in the top 5 for sure. And then after seeing the rankings, you know, the only person in front of me that made sense for me to fight was Brian Ortega. You know, Aldo, he's a great fighter. He's a legend, but he lost 3 of his last 4 fights, you know, and then I knew Holloway and Edgar were going to fight. So I was thinking I campaigned for that Ortega fight. And then, you know, he was going to be next in line all of a sudden to fight for the title, fight the winner of those guys. But then since I came out the very next weekend and I did what I did to Lamas, Dana White was impressed. So he was the one that he wanted Ortega and I to fight in Orlando, the main event. And they were going to make it as a title eliminator. The winner of us was going to get the winner of Edgar Holloway. But for whatever reason, and I understand what Ortega's trying to do. He's trying to just kind of sit sideline, and because he has a bigger following, so still hoping that he gets that title shot next. So then they just offered me Stephens after going back after Ortega turned it down. Then Shelby said there's no one for Josh to fight. He'll probably fight in, you know, April or May. I'm like, okay. And then I get the call the other day. What do you think about Stephens? From my manager. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that fight. I know it's a fight people want to see. And I said, well, when would this be? Because I know he just fought, and I was thinking, you know, April or May. And they're like, that Orlando card, the same slot. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. You know, I'll be good with my weight. You know, and now I'm full board into training camp. But yeah, I still think this is I think a more risky fight for me. I think it's going to be a tougher fight for me, and because he's a veteran, like I said, he's a pioneer of the sport. He has 40 pro fights. He's had 27 fights in the UFC. Fought the who's who at 55s, 45s, and I think this is going to be most similar to fighting myself. You know, I think we're both like really powerful, explosive, both great wrestling, great boxing, and yeah, it's going to be just insane, I think, you know. And so I still think a big win over Jeremy Stephens, I become the number 1 contender, and I'm fighting for the title next anyways.
I would agree with that assessment for sure. But all the assessment, I think your guys' fighting styles is very, very similar. And yeah, the winner of that fight, I think, is putting themselves in the winner of Holloway Edgar.
Yeah, because Ortega's taken a huge risk here with the waiting. Like you said, we all know why he's doing it, but as we've seen before, that doesn't always work out. And this sport is like a what have you done for me, you know, now. And if you go out there and make a statement on Jeremy Stephens, boom, you're at the tip of everybody's tongue.
I'm like, you know, I'm a little older. Ortega's younger, you know. I think he's like 26, 27. He's 5-0 in the UFC. He's got 6 performance bonuses, and he just fought. So he has, you know, he can sit on the sideline for a little bit. And me, I just want to stay active. You know, I'm 32. I'll be 33 in March. I will be a world champion. So I'm like, I don't have time to sit here and wait. I've been like chasing this for so long. So yeah, this is going to be the toughest fight of my career coming up against Jeremy Stephens. But it is going to be, I think it's going to be fight of the night for sure. I think we're going to have, you know, like you said, fight of the year candidate. And I can just see it now. It's going to be a good matchup, great matchmaking, and you know, and Jeremy Stephens, he'll fight anyone. He doesn't care either. And same with me. I've never turned a fight down, and I'll fight anyone 2-3 weeks, 4 days. But yeah, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so am I, and I'm glad it's a main event. So that means we get 5 rounds of it. You know, in case you don't catch him and finish him, or
hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not for your sake. You don't want to go 5 rounds trading blows.
It's a long time to fight someone, and I've done it before. But
so speaking of the division, real quick, I know we got limited time with you today. The featherweight championship coming up. Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar. Who do you see coming out with that W? Who do you see coming out of that fight with the title?
Man, it's man, that's a tough one to kind of to pick, it's like I'll kind of know like how everything comes out in the first round then, but I don't know. Holloway's a great champion. He continues to evolve and get better, and he can mix things up. He's really elusive. So I think if he can keep Frankie at bay and use his long reach and stuff those takedowns, then I could see, Holloway pulling out a decision or something like that. As far as Frankie, if he can close the gap, and get those big takedowns. I know Max is good off his back as well. He's slick, but Frankie's that guy he's a legend in the sport. That's someone that his style is awesome. Like I've been a huge fan of him, like just watching him compete his whole career, and I like his style because it's boxing and wrestling, and that's similar to mine too. And he has conditioning for days. So it depends how it goes. If he can get Max down to the ground, I see him winning. If he cannot take Max down, I see Max winning.
Yeah, I think so too. If Max can work off his jab and just, I think,
stay long,
keep Frankie out. Yep, stay real long. Exactly. That's how he wins the fight. But yeah, he's susceptible for getting taken down. Holloway, he doesn't have the greatest defensive wrestling. So yeah, and Frankie's top game is no joke. So I think if he gets on top, he'll be content to stay in his guard and pound him out. Similarly to what he did against BJ at when they fought at 45. That's kind of what I see happening. No coincidence since they're both Hawaiian, but I think that's what happens if he gets him down.
Well, like you said, you learn over the years, just don't bet against Edgar.
Yeah, and who is he? Like the losses he has, or like he's lost to Aldo a few times, and he was like that guy's like a legend of the sport, and he lost to Benson Henderson. But other than that, he's losing like title fights, and Edgar's so good, and he can close that distance, really well, and his top pressure is just second to none. And even when they're coming off, if they are getting up, coming off those takedowns or off the breaks, he's always looking to capitalize, like striking the takedowns and then right back up to it. There's just no stop or quit in him. But then again, Max has he's a great champion and an awesome fighter on a 9-fight winning streak or something like that.
I think he's on 11.
I think it's 11 after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So man, he's fought the who's who as well, and he beat the one of the best fighters in MMA 2 times in a row. So it's it's hard to bet against him, but we'll know real quick how the fight's going to go. Like I said, if Edgar gets him down in the first round, or if Holloway can just keep him at bay.
Yeah, completely agree. And real quick, I know you said about 20-30 minutes, so I do a little bit of research and a little bit of Facebook stalking for my guest. You were at the Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for 220 last night.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about the show?
It went, I made some friends, some money. It's because they kept asking me about DC and then the Stipe fight. And for DC, he's a great champion. He's lost to Jones. That's it, right? Is that his only losses? So I was just like, he's going to use his wrestling, and he has good boxing. So I was like, he's a phenomenal wrestler. He was an Olympian. I was like, he's going to use wrestling. He's going to take him down. I could see either a submission or just a TKO. And so he almost submitted him in the first, and then he TKO'd him. And as far as Stipe goes, I know Ngannou is an athlete, but man, all he has is he has a ton of power. So I said, if Stipe can stay away from that big shot, and that's the only way Ngannou would win is with a knockout. But I said Stipe is a great boxer. He was a Division I wrestler. He's good on the ground. I said he's going to come out there. He's smart. He's going to use his wrestling. He's going to beat him up on the ground. And then I could see him coming out, and I could see him, just piecing him up and outclassing him on his feet. And he was, he was slipping and rolling and getting out of the way. And then, but Ngannou would catch him with some big shots here and there. I was like, but then he'd go back to his wrestling. And he was just, his fight IQ is just smart. He was, even though he wasn't landing big shots, he was just making Ngannou carry all his weight. He was pressing that neck down. That just takes, the life out of you. And then he was, was just picking his shots, and it was, to the T what I was saying. And I was doing some interviews before, and people were asking me how that fight's going to go. And I kept saying, And so they're saying, oh, man, you called it to the T, because they were saying Ngannou by knockout. And I was like, oh, that could happen, but that's the only way he will win. And have we seen him go 3 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds? I know he couldn't go that long because he's always in and out in the first round. And so I said, if it goes into the later rounds, it's going to get worse and worse for him. And that's exactly how it went down.
Well, you called it 100% on the spot on the button there.
Yeah, and that 4th round was a brutal beating, man. We were talking about earlier, it should have been a 10-7.
Yeah.
So, all right, Josh. Well, do you have anything else you got to get off? You want to say before we let you go, man? I'm looking at the time. Don't want you to be late.
You're good. Not really, but yeah. Thanks for having me on, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Josh. Take it easy, man. Good luck in your fight against Stevens. Look forward to it, man. Be rooting for you.
All right, thank you. You guys have a good one.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Take care. That was cool, man.
Just another class act, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Guys like Emmett and the way he did take the time out of his day, his training camp has started to do the interview with us, a smaller podcast, proves why and what it was that made MMA so popular, is that the fighters are not prima donnas. They don't feel like they're better than anybody else or whatever, Really, really appreciate the time. Good guy, great interview. I'd love to get him back again if we can go a little bit more on the long form. And he was a good talk, man. Really, really comfortable to talk to that guy.
Yeah, really seemed like a really good dude. Really nice guy, and I appreciate what he said about the shows.
Yeah.
Doing the smaller shows. Like you said, got to start out somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's that humbleness that MMA fighters have over other pro athletes. This is the number 4 ranked featherweight in the world. That says something about his stature in this sport, and he took the time out of his day to talk to us. So, man, I'm really, really excited to have talked to him and really appreciate him giving us the time. So thanks, Josh, again, and best of luck against Jeremy Stevens. I'm looking forward to that fight. And once I heard that one was announced, I got chills. I got so excited. That's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, no, that's going to be great. I can't wait. Definitely going to be rooting for him. Obviously biased.
Oh, yeah. Of course, you interview us, or you come on our show and allow us to interview you, then you're stuck, dude. We're sycophants now, so he's going to be stuck dealing with us for a while, just like Shorty. We're going to be on his bandwagon forever now.
And let's not gloss over this fact that all guests that have been on our show have won their next fights.
This is very true.
Well, we will find out with Frank Camacho, but
yeah, he's got a tough outing on his next fight too.
Yeah, with Drew Dober, with a guy he said he didn't want to fight because he didn't want to take kicks from him.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, it's joking, but I just thought it was funny that his next fight was Dober.
Yeah, I know, it is funny, and yeah, Dober's got the wicked kicks. Looks like people are picking Dober to be the favorite to win by decision in the UFC Pick'em League. I just scrolled over to that fight right now. I think Frank can beat him if he can get inside and use his better boxing. Dober's got good kickboxing, good strikes, but I think if Camacho can get inside on him and turn it into a brawl, then we have ourselves a Camacho decision. But we'll see.
Hope Josh didn't feel like I was trying to push him out. I mean, he said about 20, 30 minutes. I didn't want him to be late for his 3 o'clock engagement. So
yeah, no, I would just follow up with a text message to him. Hey, thank you for the time. Wasn't trying to get you out. I didn't want to monopolize your time, because he's a nice guy. If we were sitting here taking time when he's got to run, I think that he would probably keep talking to us until it was too late. So just, I think a follow-up and appreciation. He'll get it because, we'd love to have him back when he has more time, man. That was a great interview.
And, when he has more time and I have a better voice.
Yeah, and you're not sick. No, you did it. You did a good job. I was worried, like you had mentioned earlier, if you were going to be able to talk, man. But no, you did a good job fighting through your sound. Your sound
so,
of voice.
Bellator 192, man. Real quick.
Yeah.
I want to end this soon, but we got to talk about it just because I'm tired of talking. Aaron Pico, phenomenal.
Dude, his boxing
like I said,
beautiful.
I didn't watch, but I saw that fight. It was only 37 seconds long.
Oh my God, dude, my ribs hurt after just watching that punch.
He's coming along so quickly.
Well, that's the thing, is he was touted to be like kind of, one of the number one prospects in mixed martial arts, and the UFC I knew was also vying to get him, but he chose Bellator, which was a good choice in my mind. I think Bellator is going to give him better opponents and not push him in too quickly. His first fight was a loss. He learned a lot from that, and he's come back in his last 2 fights with beautiful KO, where he stuck to real great fundamental boxing on both of them. And again, he's also a phenomenal wrestler, which we haven't even gotten to see too much of that yet. It's all just been his hands.
No, absolutely agree. And Rory McDonald defeating Douglas Lima by unanimous decision. If this was pride based on damage,
yeah,
Rory McDonald
horribly
loses, because Jesus, does that guy wear damage?
He does wear it really bad. I think that nose of his is just susceptible to being broken now after what happened with Robbie Lawler. He wore the damage bad, and regardless of that, the damage on his leg, he even said, I got another person growing inside of me. The hematoma on his left shin is cringeworthy. The fact that he could even stand at all, even with assistance, just boggles the mind.
Yeah, it was great. Lima, though, showed that he definitely deserved to be in there.
Oh, yeah. I could have seen it going to Lima. I mean, it was a very close fight, but Rory's wrestling won the day. Lima is so goddamn big. I think he started to wear out a little bit, after a while, and those takedowns, Rory started to get him. And that's what won him the fight, was those takedowns. And hats off to Rory. Glad to see him wearing gold. Lima will be back, and he will be dangerous again. So if Rory McDonald doesn't figure out some head movement and how to check those kicks, I think Lima wins the belt back.
Yeah, good point. And in the main event, we're starting off with a victory on our picks, our predictions for the heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we both predicted Chael Sonnen to beat Rampage, and Chael Sonnen beat Rampage.
Yeah, he took him down easily at will and ground him out, which we thought he would. And even after the halfway through the second round, Rampage at 153 pounds 253 pounds, big difference there, was gassed out, and Chael was actually outboxing him a little bit, which was surprising. But then, shooting in for the double, taking him down with a single, turning the corner on him and putting him on his back. I love Rampage, but I don't know if he has that fire in him anymore. It just didn't feel like it.
No, he doesn't. He's just there for the paycheck now, man.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like, as he was losing, he kind of just, I don't want to say he broke. He just like, fuck this. I'm gonna try to knock this guy out. Take me down. All right, I'll sit here for a little bit. It's not really hurting that bad. The fight's not in him anymore, unfortunately.
If you've ever seen Rampage fighting post losing the title to Forrest Griffin, you knew how this fight was going to go.
Yeah.
He just doesn't train. He can't stop a takedown anymore to save his life. I mean, Ryan Bader had his way with him. So
yeah, I mean, he doesn't have that fight in him anymore, man. That's just really what it boils down to. He's still a fun guy to watch, but
yeah, it's the truth. And then Chael Sonnen awaits the winner of Fedor and Mir, who we both picked Mir. But I don't know, man. After seeing that face-off now, I don't know. Mir looks pretty bad.
Yeah, he hasn't fought in a while, but I don't know. Maybe he looks bad because he's got like 13 different weapons on him at all times, so it's puffing up his jacket a little bit, making him look out of shape. But he looks close to 300 pounds right now. He's a big boy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but yeah, he does look like a big boy. But yeah, Bellator 192 going on. It was in our backyard. Wish I could have gone, but had to watch 220.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Yeah, had to watch 220. And I didn't feel like driving out to the Forum in LA and trying to drive back. I do enough of that for work, and I'm not a fan of that drive, so
right.
Forget about it. Yes,
well,
sir.
coming up on this Saturday, the 16th. Not the 16th. I'm lost on my mind. The 27th. UFC on Fox. Jacare versus Derek Brunson, Part 2.
Boom.
In the main event, with co-main event, Dennis Bermudez taking on Andre Fili. You got Jordan Rinaldi and Gregor Gillespie, and Drew Dober versus Frank Camacho, the aforementioned fight we were speaking about.
Yep.
Yeah. The undercard on Fox Sports 1, the preliminary, Bobby Green, Eric Cope. It's going to be a great fight. Godofredo Pepe, I forgot how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry. Mirsad Bektic, making his return since that come from behind loss to Darren Elkins. That's going to be a sick fight. But
I'm looking forward to that one. Excited.
I know, I'm excited for it, man. But let's get to Jacare and Brunson. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's do a little quick preview. Who do you think's going to win this fight, man? Last time they fought, Jacare pretty much handled him. KO'd him in 41 seconds.
Yeah, this is a different Brunson and a different Jacare, to be completely honest with you. It's a different Jacare, too. I'm picking Brunson, 4th round TKO. I think he's going to be able to defend the takedown. Jacare has lost a step in his entries. I think Brunson's stronger now, better, faster. I think he's going to stuff the takedowns, and he's going to end up ground and pounding him out in the 4th round. Once Jacare is going to go for an ill-advised takedown, Brunson's going to reverse it, get on top, and punch him out. But based upon how I scored last night, I don't know shit.
Oh, yeah, I guess we didn't get to do that last week. The winner of the MMA to the Max UFC Fantasy League for the first event of the year was me.
Well done.
We obviously didn't get to do that. We recorded before the event was over. And congratulations to the UFC 220 winner, Valley Percival.
He had a great night.
Yeah, he did really well. So, very good on him. I think he got both of the tight matchup bonuses on there. So,
yep.
Congratulations, Valley. If anybody does the fantasy and wants to join a league for $20, hit me up. We're still accepting.
Do it.
So, all right. I think I'm done. I think
you're good. Your voice is starting to go. We did a preview of the main event, co-main event, St. Preux versus Latifi. Someone's going to sleepy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think, all right, social media, man. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, you can get a hold of me on Twitter at JoeHud45, Twitter, JoeHud45, and Instagram, MMA to the Max Joe, and the 2, as always, is the number 2. Robert.
Find me on Twitter at It'sRockRobster. Find me on Instagram at MMA to the Max Rob. Find the show on Twitter at MMA to the Max Show. Find it on Facebook on Facebook.com/MMA to the Max Podcast. As always, find our show anywhere you listen to any podcast that you can. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, all the good stuff. Find us, as always, at our parent website of W2Mnet.com, where you can find all your needs for wrestling, movies, sports, and entertainment, including yours truly's here. And a big thank you once again to Josh Emmett for showing up. Next week, we're supposed to have Curtis Blades. Hope that works out.
Oh, yeah.
Razor Blades up before his big fight with Mark Hunt, big co-main event, so can't wait for that.
Yes, sir. It'll be a good one.
All right, is that it? You good?
I'm good, sir. You need to get some tea with honey in it and fix that throat of yours.
Yeah, pronto. So, for my co-host, Joe Hudson, I am Robert Taylor. This has been MMA to the Max. We will see you next week.
See ya.